Hello guys, welcome back to Christian Finance for your daily financial content. And today we're going to be covering the one and only Michael Burry and his latest predictions on what's going to happen in the near future. Now, for those of you that don't know who he is, he actually was the main character of Big Short, predicting the housing market crisis in 2008, shorting everything back then, making his investors and himself a lot of money. Now, currently, he's predicting something very similar. It's going to happen. And in a big way, it's already happening, right? Markets are crashing. Bitcoin went from 69,000 in November to now literally being worth 19,700 as of this moment. And the Dow Jones also going down from about that 36,500 to now 30,893. Which is pretty crazy. But as we'll find out in a little bit, he really does think that this is just the beginning, or more so, at least the midpoint of what's gonna come. But he does say here, as we can see, that high inflation will last for years amid global turmoil. And his prediction is that we'll be at that high inflation point for a while. But how that's gonna come with the Feds and the interest rates and the hikes, we really have to wait and see. Obviously, the CPI data today came at 9.1%, which is pretty crazy. And then this right here is one of his very famous tweets, which he said about a month ago. And it says, as I said about 2008, it is like watching a plane crash. It hurts, it is not fun, and I'm not smiling. Really scary words to come from someone that has already predicted past massive crash and now is saying that the plane is literally crashing. And as if you guys don't know, this is exactly what he said. But oftentimes he deletes his Twitter, he deletes his tweets, simply because when he says something, a lot of people do freak out and he does want to mitigate it. And that is why his tweets are only there for a little bit of time. And that's why we're seeing this tweet on a repost account. But I would say this is probably the scariest tweet he actually put out, which was July 1st. And he literally said, minus 50% to go. He actually deleted this 5 minutes after he posted it. But he thinks right now, the way we've crashed, it's about halfway to how low we're actually going to go. So if that's true, then that means Bitcoin should be bottoming out around $6,000, which is crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. That's too low. Another 20% down on the Dow Jones would be around that 25,000, which again, I think it's too low. However, I do think that we will get lower. And again, this isn't financial advice. Go do your own research. This is just based on mine and sort of following what Michael Burry is saying. But just before we continue on, I would like to take a moment and ask you guys to please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It massively would help me out. I do these content videos for you guys daily, and the subscription for you guys would really mean a lot. Okay. Now, personally, obviously, as we all know, Michael Burry's prediction, we're already in a recession. We're going to go lower. That is great. But I do think there were some telling signs that, hey, we were going to go lower. And this was sort of the beginning of the end, which was back in 2021. And for me, a telling sign was when we saw Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk selling a lot of their shares from their perspective, Tesla and Amazon, right? They were selling quite heavily. And even in the beginning of 2022. And then we even had Mark Zuckerberg selling pretty heavily off of Meta as well. So when you have all these CEOs of some of the biggest companies in the world selling, that should be a telling sign that there's a likelihood of trouble coming up. And obviously that is what's happening right now. Now, just before we end it off, I do want to leave you guys on some positive note. And that is the Bullwhip tweet that Michael actually put out. Now, for those of you unaware of what the Boyp Effect is and what he's talking about, it is the deflationary effects of retailers holding too much inventory. The theory is that they will eventually have to drop their prices to relieve themselves of the goods they have stockpiled. So he's saying essentially, there's going to be no longer supply shortages, but instead, the retailers will actually have a surplus of supply, which right now I don't see happening. But if this theory was to play out, the retailers will have too much inventory, so therefore they'll have to decrease the price to be able to sell everything, right? Which would be amazing, and I really do hope that that does happen. But right now where I live, there's a huge supply shortage, right? Even something as basic as meat, we're supposed to be having a shortage on in the next couple of weeks to a month, right? This is the prediction in the place that I live personally right now. So as much as I would like for this to come true, I just don't see it happening personally. And with that, guys, the video is over. Let me know what you guys think about Michael Burry's predictions. Do you think that inflation will keep rising and we're going to be in a world of trouble where we're only 50% down of the total bottom? Or do you think the Bullwhip Effect theory is going to come true and the supply will actually go up, no longer have a supply shortage, but potentially we're going to have a supply surplus, which I don't see happening, but let me know what you guys think down below. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. And as always, guys, stay diversified.